Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 1. Chapter title: Observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Okay. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavetayuyutsavah Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Purport. Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, as described in the Mahabharata, form the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when He was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. The word Dharmakshetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary, what did they do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield, because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven. Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield. Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. And as in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out, so it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, The unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's sons, Duryodhan, and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthir would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharmakshetre and Kurukshetre, apart from their historical and Vedic importance. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? So, Hare Krishna, this is the first verse of Bhagavad Gita. Here we see Dhritarashtra is asking a question that may seem a little bit odd, that he is asking, what did my sons and sons of Pandu do when they assembled in the battlefield? So now what do people do when people assemble in a battlefield to fight? They fight. But he is asking this question out of uncertainty, which Prabhupada discusses in the purport, that he is not sure what will happen to his, what will happen, because Kurukshetra is Dharma Kshetra. So in this religious place, it may influence Duryodhan and his party. They may change their mind, they may choose to not fight. So Dhritarashtra is having that Kshatriya spirit that no, fight must happen and my sons must win. So that is disclosed here. That Dhritarashtra is asking, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? So here we see he is fearing. So that is the nature of material existence. We are always uncertain, we are always fearful, we don't know what's going to happen next. So we are always fearing, because we are, the nature is that we are always hankering after something, and once we get it, we are fearing that we don't lose it. So in this fearful condition, he is thinking that these are my sons, they should fight and they should get the kingdom. So that's why this fear is coming. This is the principle of aham mameti. So there is a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, ato pumsas striya mithuni bhavametam tayor hidaya granthi mahur ato griha kshetra sutapta vittar janasya mohoyam aham mameti. So ato griha kshetra sutapta vittar. So these things are binding him. First binding principle is that attachment between man and woman. Then all these things start, that griha, house, kshetra, land, sutta, apta, sutta, children. So all these things bind the man in his materialistic consciousness, and now all he can think about is me and mine. So that is the situation here with Dhritarashtra. He is thinking, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? So he is separating that these are Pandu's sons and these are my sons. So that's the nature of the materialists, that they are always thinking that this is mine, that is not mine. They can't have the consciousness that everything is Krishna's. So although we see actually in Mahabharata, he tells Akrura that I know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I know that he doesn't want me to make such plans against the Pandavas, that this battle shouldn't happen, but still I can't help it. So this is the attachment. He knows that Krishna is supreme, but still he acts against it. So material life is such, we become so much entangled that sometimes we may not even know, or we may not even accept it. But there is a case of Dhritarashtra that he knows that Krishna is supreme, and still he chooses that no, more important is my family. Because Krishna is Krishna, he is the supreme. He is far away, he is God, he owns everything, but I own my family. Right? He is thinking in terms of me and mine. So this is the difficulty, and this is what we should, by regularly reading Bhagavad Gita and hearing from devotees, this is the thing which we need to give up. These Mayavadis that make a big thing out of giving up ahankar, that we have to give up the sense of I, but that is not the ahankar that we talk about giving up. The ahankar is that thinking that everything is mine, me and mine. That is what we have to give up. We have to not just give up, we have to replace it with the real ahankar. Give up the false ego and replace it with the true ego, that everything is Krishna's. Krishna as Paramatma, he is the ultimate self, and he owns everything. We are only his part and parcel. So this is the consciousness that we all regularly hearing and regularly reading and associating with devotees. This is the consciousness we have to come to. Otherwise, if we are attached to even a small thing in this world, then again we have to take birth. So our human life will be wasted. So it's not. So here the Bhagavad Gita starts with this. Dhritarashtra is asking about what happened at Kurukshetra. So now we'll see what are the words here. Dharma kshetre. In the word meaning, it says in the place of pilgrimage. So what is Kurukshetra? Some commentators, they say that Kurukshetra is something they speak in metaphorical terms. They don't say that it's a place of pilgrimage. So, but here Prabhupada is clearly saying no, it is Dharma kshetra means the place of pilgrimage. Kurukshetra is not like this body, five senses and all those vague things that the Mayavadis say. But it is Kurukshetra is the place where the place here Prabhupada translates Kurukshetra in the place named Kurukshetra. He could have just left it Kurukshetra means Kurukshetra. But he specified here in the place named Kurukshetra in the word meaning. So this is very important to understand. Then next is Samaveta, assembled, Yuyutsava. Yuyutsava, now even today there is a form of fighting called Jujitsu. So I was hearing a Prabhupada lecture on this. There he says actually it is derived from Yuyutsava. So many languages, we see so many words which are coming from Sanskrit. Actually Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. But now people are all divided. Originally everything was the Sanatan Dharma all over the world, but now and Sanskrit was the main language. But now people don't accept it. Different linguistic ideas are there and people have different ideas. But there are so many evidences to support this. So many words are there, like trigonometry and like matra, pitra, these mother, father, all these so many words are there. So Prabhupada points out this Yuyutsava, desiring to fight. Next, Mamakaha, my party, sons. Mamakaha, he is talking about only that my sons, and then Pandavaha, the sons of Pandu. Cha and Eva, certainly, Kim Akurvata Sanjay. What did they do? Okay. So this is the scene. Why all these shlokas are very important to understand, because these are setting the scene for what is about to come. Someone may ask that why this Bhagavad Gita is all philosophical, then why we are talking about all these things. Dhritarashtra is asking something to Sanjaya, and the names of the soldiers are given, because all these are giving the context as to why means what Krishna is going to speak upon later on in Bhagavad Gita. So this is how we have to understand Bhagavad Gita, step by step. We should not skip that, okay, no, first chapter is not spiritual, we'll directly start from the second chapter. Some people have this tendency. They think that, no, Krishna starts speaking from the second chapter. So who will read all this first chapter, all names are given. But no, this is all in connection with Krishna. Actually, entire Mahabharata is in connection with Krishna, but specifically these shlokas are very important for giving us a proper understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Because the entire Bhagavad Gita builds upon this first chapter. So now we'll go about to the purport. here it's very important to understand that Prabhupada wrote this Bhagavad Gita was distributed first, means before that. Nowadays so many Bhagavatam sets are being distributed. Initially the most distributed book was this Bhagavad Gita. This is what started this Hare Krishna revolution all over the world. These books, Prabhupada's Krishna book, Bhagavad Gita, but so many Bhagavad Gita commentaries were there. But this commentary started a revolution all over the world. So what are the first words in the purport of this first chapter, first verse? This is very important, very significant. Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. So it defines Bhagavad Gita perfectly, that it's a widely read theistic science. So it's not a belief book that you believe it or go to hell, not like that. It's a theistic science. It's a science. If we tell this to some people who are very, rigid minded, they say that no, how can you call it science? This is all pseudoscience. They say like this. But actually, what is science? Science is that there is experimentation and there is observation, and you practically apply it and you come to a conclusion, right? So similarly, we can observe all the things which are given in Bhagavad Gita. We can practically observe it in the society. Who can say that the three modes of material nature are mythology? How can you say it? Actually, if you are properly following according to Bhagavad Gita, these things will become visible. Okay, this is tamas, this is satogun, this is rajogun. We will be able to see. Similarly, so many things are discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. So we have to understand properly that this is a theistic science, and when we apply this knowledge in our life, we can see the change. We can see that what were we before coming here in Krishna consciousness. We had so many bad habits and so many bad qualities in us, but they very quickly go away when we are applying this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in our life. Sometimes some sanskaras may be very strong, so they may take some time. But if you compare with Bhagavad Gita, if you see that someone going to a rehab center, for instance, how much more effort it takes to give up drugs, for instance. It takes so much effort. But just by reading this Bhagavad Gita, just by hearing regularly, participating in Sankirtan, people became so much purified that they gave up all their bad habits. And till now it is happening that people give up their past sinful life and they fully dedicate their lives. They become sadhus. Completely paradigm shift from here to there. So it's a theistic science. Now it's a science, this is established, but very crucial is to understand that this is a theistic science. It's as opposed to the atheistic science that we see nowadays. In modern science, we see that there is no question of God. There is only matter, only study of matter. But this is also science, but this is not the material science. This is the spiritual science, theistic science. Okay, so this is the widely read theistic science. Also here, widely read, I was thinking that why would Prabhupada write widely read theistic science? So there actually I understood, because this theistic science is there throughout the Vedic scriptures, everywhere. But Bhagavad Gita is widely read all over the world. Everyone is reading. So in one lecture, Prabhupada was saying that everywhere people are reading Bhagavad Gita. So in that sense, Krishna is still famous. Because Prabhupada was giving the example there that Krishna's knowledge is still prevalent in society through the Bhagavad Gita, that all over the world people are reading this. It's a widely read theistic science. Next, here he says that it is summarized in the Gita Mahatmya. So, what is it given in Gita Mahatmya is that how to read this Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita should be read scrutinizingly under the guidance of a devotee. So if we can follow how Arjuna understood this Bhagavad Gita, through a representative of Arjuna, a person who is coming in the line of Arjuna. He is without any personal motivation, he is just giving this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then we are very fortunate. So that is how we have to understand Bhagavad Gita. So when we read in this following this proper procedure, then we get the result that we give up this tendency of aham mameti. So but Dhritarashtra, he is displaying this quality so badly that he is thinking, although he got so much good advice from others, but still he is thinking that no, my sons are more important than Krishna. So even Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the battlefield. Everyone heard, right? So everyone there heard what Krishna spoke, but still even after hearing, they didn't change, because they didn't hear it in the proper attitude. We have to hear Bhagavad Gita, but in the proper attitude. That what is that proper attitude? The attitude of Arjuna, in a submissive mood, in a surrendered mood, and accepting Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna accepted. So if we do that, then we'll see the effect. All our bad qualities will go and we'll come to the perfectional stage. So I'll read further. So Prabhupada also talks about the motivated interpretations. So what are these motivated interpretations? So some people even question that Prabhupada's purports are motivated, he is promoting bhakti. But no, actually, if you see Bhagavad Gita in its totality, if you see all the verses, actually it is concluding in bhakti. But that may not sometimes become very evident, may not become very clear, especially to the modern people who are always wanting that no, somehow or other we have to be atheists. We don't want God. And even if we get God, we don't want Krishna. Don't be so specific. Don't be sectarian. Right? So somehow or other they always want to avoid. So but Prabhupada brings that point again and again, that no, Bhagavad Gita, the main thing is Krishna. This is the central point. Krishna is the center. But so many commentators, they avoid Krishna. But Prabhupada said that no, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why it's given Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. In all the other verses in Mahabharata, it's not given like Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. But when Bhagavad Gita starts, there we always see Krishna is addressed as Sri Bhagavan. So that's why we have to avoid the motivated interpretations, which avoid Krishna because they have their own agenda to establish Mayavad through misinterpretation of the verses. Then here we say Prabhupada is talking about this Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya as described in Mahabharata form the basic principle for this great philosophy. So it is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on the planet for the guidance of mankind. So here it's starting with Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, right? So this is forming the basis. The topics discussed form the basic principle for this great philosophy. That's what I said towards the start of the lecture. So what here is being discussed, then Sanjaya is replying, and then further this conversation goes on, because actually Sanjaya sitting in Dhritarashtra's room is narrating the whole thing to Dhritarashtra, what is happening in the battlefield, and then it is being written by that thing is being written by Vedvyas. So here the philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So this is very significant. This philosophy of Bhagavad Gita is on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We don't find anywhere else any other theistic book where it is being spoken on a battlefield. This is a very tense situation. Arjuna is worried about his duties. He can't. He is giving up. But Krishna then advises him what to do in his how to do his duty properly and become Krishna conscious. So this is Bhagavad Gita. It's spoken on a battlefield of Kurukshetra. And what is this battlefield? It's not any ordinary battlefield. It's a sacred place of pilgrimage. So it even before the Mahabharat war, there is some spiritual significance. Parashuram came there. There was some leela that the blood of all the Kshatriyas who he had killed, that was in Kurukshetra. So even after that, many used to worship in that place. And later on, but even it was made even more spiritually significant by the presence of Krishna. So this is that's why it's a place of pilgrimage. Although already it was spiritually significant, but it became even more by the specific presence of Krishna. So in that sense, wherever Krishna is present, even in any temple, Krishna is there. So that place is a place of pilgrimage. So in a place of pilgrimage, people engage in dharmic activities. So this is a dharma yuddha. This Dhritarashtra is worried that this is a dharma yuddha. Now he knows that Pandavas are on the side of dharma and his sons are on the side of adharma. So this is the situation of Dhritarashtra, that he is worried that they should not give up. They should not give up their stance. They should fight against the Pandavas. So just like sometimes a thief is he knows that if he steals, then he will be punished, but still he steals, right? There are some people who don't know that doing a wrong thing is wrong, but there are some who know that it is wrong, but still they will do it. These are worse than those who don't know. At least they don't know, but there are some who know, but still they are doing the wrong thing. He knows that his sons are wrong, but he is so much attached to his sons that he says, oh, anyway, I will support them. So both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. So he refers only his sons as Kurus, not the Pandavas, because what is the history? If we try to understand, actually Dhritarashtra was the elder brother. He, by succession, he should have got the throne, but because he was blind, how will he rule the whole world? Because Bharat was whole world. Practically you can't even rule a state if you are blind. It's a big difficulty. So that's why his younger brother got the throne, Pandu. But Pandu passed away very early. So then Dhritarashtra had a conspiracy in his mind that no, now I didn't get the throne, but at least my sons should get the throne. So that's why he decided that okay, at least I couldn't get, my sons should get the throne. So this is aham mameti in Dhritarashtra. This is his spiritual blindness. He was already materially blind, but here we see his spiritual blindness, that he knows everything, but still he is doing the wrong thing. So Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Okay. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.